Alright, you having fun there?
Give me a break.
Give me a break. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. If you are new, then hey, my name's Marie. I make mental health videos every week, and if you are interested in mental health, have mental illness yourself, or you know, just want to join the fam, then hit that subscribe button down below. Today we are going to be doing another mental health Q&A, and I have asked differently this time. So normally I ask on my Instagram, so check me out on Instagram if you haven't already. I'm still at 20.6k. Hurting me in the heart. Literally so many people are unfollowing me. I don't know why. Literally, it's actually tragic. This time I asked for questions over on my Telenym. So if you don't know what Telenym is, it's basically an anonymous asking app. So I asked for questions over there. I thought some people might be a bit more scratchy over there, so I do have a selection of questions which I wrote down because a lot of them were very similar, and I thought let's, you know, group them together, and I've also gone for very different ones than I normally go for. So but yes, well, let's get straight on into the video. So first one, going in at the deep end, what are your thoughts on self-diagnosing? So, self-diagnosing, I'm going to be completely honest when I say that I think there is a stigma around self-diagnosing due to a few factors. One of them is because I think some people feel that other people are, say for example, I say I have psychosis and someone else goes, oh, I have psychosis too, but I'm not formally diagnosed. Inside, part of me goes, well, how do you know you've had it then? And they'll go, well, because I had this symptom, this symptom, this symptom. And all I'm saying is that when you are in that position of thinking that you have symptoms of a different illness, I think then sure, go to the doctor and say, I think I'm struggling with this because I've had this, this and this. But at the end of the day, you can never use Dr. Google as a definitive answer for your mental health and the answers to your mental health, because what I also think is that you could go to the doctor and say, I have this, this and this, and they turn around and say you actually are struggling with this. It just shows that something that could be very obvious to us, like I have this symptom, this symptom, this symptom, may actually be indistinguishable from a different illness that we actually don't know because we're not a doctor and we haven't trained in that field. Because there's a very big difference in saying I think I have this and I definitely have this, because at the end of the day we can't take an unbiased and, you know, objective approach to looking at ourselves. You do need to get a doctor to follow up on things like that, because I think when you say in the mental health like world that you're struggling with a certain illness, other people that struggle with that illness will definitely gravitate towards you. But if you actually haven't been diagnosed with it, they may feel like you're almost making a mockery of them. Not a mockery, that's a bit drastic, but like a bit of a, how do you know that you have this if you haven't been diagnosed? And should you really be saying that you have this if you haven't been formally diagnosed? On the other hand though, I know that obviously healthcare around the world is not like the NHS in England. I know it's expensive and going to a doctor is expensive, and especially if you're going for a diagnosis that may need follow-up appointments, that is definitely difficult. But I don't think self-diagnosing is the way to go about it. I think you can say, I think I'm struggling with this, or these things have been bothering me. I would say if you're in that boat, then you should definitely write down everything that you're experiencing, and also keep mood or eating or anything diaries, so that when you do finally go to the doctor, you already have evidence as such to why you feel you have what you may have. But you got to always remember that from day one, don't feel invalid if you don't have a formal diagnosis, because you can still struggle with problems and not be formally diagnosed with them. If you do feel, I just think if you do feel like you're struggling with a different a more severe illness, because with like anxiety and depression, yes, you kind of have to be diagnosed with them, but like when I went to the doctor for the first time, they were never like, I diagnose you with depression, like name of the father, you know, it was never like that. It was like, here's some tablets because you probably have depression. I think when the more complex the illness, that's when you definitely need a psychiatrist or doctors or, you know, nurses input into why you may have that complex illness. Does that make sense? But at the end of the day, if you think you've got something, go to the doctor. So the next one is, I took a screenshot of it, and it says, do you feel that you've reached a place now where you're okay / comfortable with other people knowing about your mental health / struggles? Even though I know I shouldn't, sometimes I feel uncomfortable knowing that those who are supporting me know about my mental health struggles, as I don't know, it just makes me feel uneasy sometimes, and I do worry that sometimes they might treat me differently based on my mental health as opposed to who I am for the person that I am. I think what really stood out to me with this question was how uncertain you feel. I think you're obviously in the place of coming to terms with your own illness and struggles. I think that's where people often feel shame or discomfort, because it's a new identity that you're kind of thrown into, and having others know about this new thing that may have been like your secret for a very long time is obviously going to be uneasy. So do I personally feel that I've reached a point where I'm just not ashamed anymore? I'm not ashamed to say that I struggle with my mental health, because I feel like I am strong enough as a person who has mental health problems or not to define myself other than my mental health problems. It used to be that my only identity was my mental illness, and that was a really difficult time because everything was so fickle, everything was so uncertain and horrible, and just like I just remember feeling at unease all the time, because I was like, who knows, who doesn't know. I felt like I was in a goldfish bowl and everyone was looking in and everyone was judging me. But in reality, I want you to know that people don't judge you, and if people are judging you, they're not worth your time. If they are saying things about you, prove them wrong. And also it's completely within your right to not have to disclose almost the fact that you have mental health problems to other people. Obviously things like scars and that can be an indication, so cover them up until you feel comfortable enough. Like for example, when I went to Bali, I covered my arms until I got to know people, just because, like you said, I didn't want to be known as, by first glance, the person who has scars, because I was like, I'm more than that. So sometimes I think there is tactical ways of showing your scars, and like not showing them is also completely fine. It just depends on how you feel, and you call the shots with all of these things. So just know that like you are in control, and it's okay to feel uneasy, and it's okay to feel discomfort, but just know that eventually you will get to a point where you feel okay, as a whole. Okay, the next question I think is important, and that's why I'm going to answer it. And it says, have your therapist, psychologist, CPN ever switched to a new one after a long time of working together? How did you feel about it, and how long did it take for you to start trusting them? I, as many of you know, had an old CPN. So if you don't know what CPN is, community psychiatric nurse, who I worked with for 4 years, and I was very attached to her. She knew absolutely everything about me and was probably one of the only people at the time who knew what was really going on in my head. And when she left, it was so difficult for me. Like, I found it so hard. She left probably, sorry, I've got something on my lip and it's really itchy. Oh, there we go. She got a new job probably about a year ago now. God, it's gone so fast. But yeah, I have had this experience, and it is really difficult because you do become so attached to that person, and I really want to do a video about attachments. I just don't know which way to play it. Are we going to go questions and answers, or am I going to go more informative? You let me know, you call the shots. I would say if you're in this situation, then just see that as a closing chapter in your life. Like, you've worked with this person, you can appreciate this person, but now that person has gone on to different things. You should be happy for them, you should be happy for you, because it means you're moving on and you're able to have change, and change is good, my friends. Change is good. Please don't feel like you're being weird if you are upset, like really upset for this person leaving. Like, I was genuinely like heartbroken. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was actually heartbroken when this person left because I relied on her so much. But how long did it take me to trust new people? I'm not a very trusting person. I'm very skeptical, and I don't like disclosing. Ironically, I don't like disclosing what's actually going on inside my head to new people. I know that people find that strange because I have a YouTube channel. No, you're not going outside. I'm sick of you getting up and down, Albie. And ironically, because I have a YouTube channel, people think that I'm like an open book, but I'm actually, oh my god, you fat lump. I'm actually very reserved and private in times of struggling. Yes, in hindsight I will tell you what's gone on, but in the actual time when I'm struggling, I will not let on a thing to people. So in terms of trusting a new person, I think if I had, I was gonna say lost, she didn't die, oh god, that would have been awful. Well, technically lost, yeah, this person, when I was younger, I would have found it so much harder, but I think the older you get, the more mature you get, and I knew that the only way I was going to receive help and get better was to start trusting people. So I was lucky enough to be put on to a new person who was amazing and worked really hard, and I think you just need to try your hardest to trust that person, and don't be purposefully, almost like you may subconsciously be difficult on purpose. Like I know that sounds really mean, but I think I definitely was a difficult patient, just in terms of the fact that I wouldn't tell anyone anything, just based on the fact that I had too much pride and I had decided in my head that I wasn't going to do that. So yeah, be open, be honest, and it's okay to feel a problem. It's okay to feel upset about it. Okay, the next question I had from a lot of people, and it was basically someone asked me this question, and I answered with this. So a lot of people have asked me, do I think I'm misdiagnosed with BPD? And this is a really difficult one, because honestly, if I went to a psychiatrist now and was like clean slate, never had any previous like doctor appointments or anything, I know I would not be diagnosed with borderline personality disorder because I just don't fit the criteria anymore. Like I genuinely, I'm not even just saying this anymore, like I actually just don't fit the criteria. I think when I was diagnosed, I was a very young hormonal female, and they tend to put very young hormonal and emotional females into one category of a borderline personality disordered person.
Wow! The land of make-believe!
I feel like it's very overdiagnosed, and do I think I'm misdiagnosed with it? I don't know. Like, I actually would have to sit down with my psychiatrist and be like, can we get this taken off, or can you tell me why you think I still have it? Because personally I don't, but it's just like with the self-diagnosing thing. I've been diagnosed with it, so it's on my record. It's not my primary diagnosis, but it's still there. I just don't think that I fit the criteria, and maybe it's because I'm in remission of it, or maybe it's because I never had it in the first place. I just had a mixture of being young, immature, hormonal, emotional, confused, upset, depressed, lost, all in one mixing bowl, and they went, oh, what's that? A fucking BPD cake. So who fucking knows? What mental health related things do you struggle with on a daily basis? You seem to be doing so well, but I can't help but think you're not 100%, as that's not really how it works, is it? This is just so I know what to expect during recovery. So first of all, I'm so proud of you for choosing to recover. I see you. Like, you go. Making that choice is so good, and yeah, I'm just, woohoo! What do I struggle with on a day-to-day basis? Oh my god, I'd have to actually have a think. So I definitely still struggle with eating, like disordered eating thoughts and behaviours and routines, I would say. But that's because a lot of people ask whether I'm having treatment for anorexia, but no, I'm not. But I'm doing well with it. I'm not in like a relapse or anything like that. But I still struggle with the thoughts. I would say also it's kind of grown from being a lost, vulnerable person to no longer being vulnerable, but my mental health still taking charge and causing me to feel emotions still, but they're different emotions. So before, because I was lost and vulnerable, I was feeling, it led me to feel very depressed and angry, and you know, I would lash out because I was so lost and confused. Now it more embodies guilt, and especially around like productivity. I feel like because I'm a recovered person, that I have to meet all these standards. Maybe that's just because I'm a perfectionist, but I would say that like my standards are very high, and if I don't, I still fall into the same category that I did when I was 17, that I feel like I have to... Oh, it's bloody police, I swear to God. I mean, Covland is a bit rough, but this is just a joke. Jesus Christ. Oh, it's that undercover police. Undercover superstar, we will find you wherever you are. If anyone gets that reference, I will literally send you £100 on PayPal. What was I saying? No. Yeah, so I would still fall into the same category. I would still fall into the same habits as what I did when I was 17, of trying to like almost punish myself. Back then it was with self-harm, with blah 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 blah. Now it's more with like it's just stupid things. Like, I always have a, if you don't do this, then this is going to happen. If you don't do this, then this is all going to fall through. If you don't do this, then this is going to, I don't know what that is, but it's like intrusive thoughts, and I think the intrusive thoughts are what I still struggle with. But when you said, does it really work like that, as in being 100%, I think it's because the person who you start off recovery as changes over time. I did a video probably about 2 weeks ago on how to, what even was that video? About finding yourself again after a mental health crisis. So I will leave that in a link or in an iCard. But it's really important to know that you're not going to be the same person. I've got a quote for this, and I've even got the book here. Okay, you wait, I've got a quote. Okay, you ready? I would definitely recommend people to get this book. It's very odd, but I really find it comforting. I don't know why. But here we go. And once the storm is over, you won't remember how you made it through, how you managed to survive. You won't even be sure, in fact, whether the storm is really over. But one thing is certain, you will come out of the storm and you won't be the same person who walked in. That's what this storm's all about. Mic drop. I think that is a really good quote for showing that, especially the bit where it says you don't know if the storm's really over, and that's like how I feel. Like, I'm like, am I through everything? Is this storm really over? And I'm not sure. Who knows? We could be hit with a second wave of Marie-Senchal goes crazy. But yeah, just know that you will change, and that's what to expect from recovery, is you changing as a person. But my loves, that is my Q&A done. If you've got any more questions, be sure to follow my Instagram, because that's where I ask for questions and anything really mental health related. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you're not already, and I will love you and leave you. Stay safe, and I will see you soon. Bye!